so many signs in these things for scientists and mathematicians to work out many mathematical questions pertaining to the creation of this world and future events as well. But that is besides here the point. The fact is that day is now clearly established by the Holy Quran, when Allah uses it, to be a duration of time which is out of all proportion, bigger than the ordinary days known to us. So after that, this subjection falls automatically.
I see.
Right?
Jazakumullah.
Hazur, I have two questions.
Yes.
First one is that do we have any account of as if Hazrat Isa ﷺ got married when he went to Kashmir?
No.
This is a question which I have been asked.
This is the answer which I have given. No. No evidence. Thank you.
There's another question.
All right.
It relates to a friend of mine, a colleague who's working with me, comes from Iran, and I have given him the philosophy, the teaching of Islam to read. After reading it, he told me that he had some experience with the Moonies. With the Moonies, the...
Yes, I know, yes.
So, yeah. And according to him, he relates our community very parallel to the Moonies. Everything he read in the book, he always has an answer for me. For instance, about life after death. Can you please tell me how he can relate to our community?
Well, Jamaat Ahmadiyya is first.
Sure.
And the literature of Hazrat Masih Maud Salam, particularly this book to which you are referring, was widely published. And ever since, in the first instance, and ever since it has been published and has been translated into many languages. So this has left a very deep impression on the thinking of other people. This is a book of such high order. I mean, of course it is according to us, but I mean in relation to others as well, that Tolstoy in that age took notice of this book and said the writer of this book is a very great man. He's not an ordinary person. He speaks with such authority and such dignity on such matters which are so complicated and delicate. So great people of the time of Hazrat Masih Maud Salam, while Ahmadiyyat was not known, could not ignore to take notice of this particular book. So people who came later on, if they adopt the same message, then they owe this message to this book. Whatever has been said first, that cannot be replaced, the order of the first can never be changed later on. So the question is, these good things which you tell them, if they agree to them, still they owe to Ahmadiyyat. And if they try to misappropriate them, you can always prove that this was first said by Ahmadiyyat unless you prove that your leaders had told the world the same things in a way that they had never come into contact with the Ahmadiyya teachings in any way. Only then you can claim an independent discovery of the same thing. Still the first will remain the first. That order can never be changed.
According to him, he says that Reverend Moon, the leader of the Moonies, went to a mountain in Korea when he was 16 years old, and he met Jesus there, and Jesus told him that he was the third Adam of this day. He has given me two books, one which attracts the Muslim society.
Who has given? Somebody has given you, or Jesus had given him?
No,
Yes.
My friend.
Yes.
Apparently, his story is that he comes from Iran. He belongs to a Shia family. So since he's been here, he has disliked the way that Iran is under dictatorship, and he wants nothing to do with Iran.
Yes.
Because of Khomeini's teachings. So accidentally he met the Mauris.
Such claims are made by every religion or people from every religion. So what difference does it make? If 100 people today begin to make such claims, as actually there are so many who are making such claims, then thus the claim itself is nothing. I mean, it doesn't make us believe because a claim is made. What is the proof of the truth? That is the point which is to be discussed. Demand a proof, and demand a proof according to the standards of the Holy Quran, laid down by the Holy Quran.
So although he doesn't practice Islam, but he has the book of the Holy Quran, and whenever I ask him any questions or we have discussions at work, he always refers to certain chapters from the Holy Quran.
In what sense?
And yet...
in what sense?
Things like...
No, what I mean to say is, what is his attitude towards the Holy Quran?
So this is
even, devil can quote from the scriptures.
Sure.
This is a common phrase. The fact is, a person can quote any book, whether he believes in that book or not, just to prove the point to those who believe in such a book. So, does he quote the Holy Quran with such a stance that because he knows you believe, so if he quotes the Holy Quran, he can shut your mouth in an argument?
Yes.
Is that the reason why he quotes it?
Yes.
All right. Then how could this create problems for you? It's impossible, because the Holy Quran cannot say anything which is against the belief of Muslims, because their belief is based on the Holy Quran.
Yes.
So how can it create problems for you? This is what I don't understand. If he quotes a verse of the Holy Quran in favor of his view and against your view, then either he has misunderstood and his application of the verse to his view is totally wrong, or your concept of the Holy Quran is wrong there and your interpretation is wrong, and then you should be rectified. So unless you give a definite example, how can I decide about this in generalizations? You write to me, quote certain examples,
Sure.
or come again with definite examples in your jotted down better, and tell me that this is what he has said and I have no answer for this, or this seems to be against my view but I can't find an answer to prove otherwise, and so on. So in that case I'll inshallah tackle those things.
Thank you. He has made a promise with me that inshallah one day he will
If
come
he
to
comes himself,
Madrasa
that would be
Finance.
ideal.
Yes, I
That
am
would be
trying my
ideal.
best, but I've had a slight problem. At work we have two non-Ahmadi Pakistanis, and during our tea breaks and dinner breaks for the past couple of weeks, we always discuss about Ahmadiyat and in general of all religions. And the other non-Ahmadi Muslims, I think they have, I have offended them in a way that I have been doing preaching to my friend. So they have in a way threatened him that, look, you don't go and sit with that Qadiani, and their teachings are wrong, and their Messiah,
The false claimant.
and his grave is in India, whereas the promised Messiah's grave would be in Damascus. So obviously he is quite scared of them because he's working with them and he wants to be
As
friendly
long
with
as
them.
they put forward arguments, there is no harm at all. It's good. Because the stronger logic would survive and the lesser logic is going to be annihilated ultimately. So what is to fear?